Jungle. What have you brought for us?
Well, I've got a couple songs that, I'll just introduce the first one. 1914. They were not yet calling it the war to end all wars. And on Christmas Eve, a truce happened. It was not set up by the authorities. And if you listen to the song, you get the feeling it only lasted for a night, but it actually lasted for weeks afterwards, where the soldiers refused to fight. Song by my friend John McCutcheon. And, I'll let it speak for itself.
Go for it.
My name is Francis Tolliver. I come from Liverpool. 2 years ago, the war was waiting for me after school. From Belgium on to Flanders, to Germany to here. I fought for king and country I loved dear. 'Twas Christmas in the trenches, where the frost so bitter hung. The frozen fields of France were still, no Christmas song was sung. Our families back in England were toasting us that day. They're brave and glorious lads so far away. I was lying with my messmate on the cold and rocky ground, when across the field of battle came the most peculiar sound. Says I, now listen up, me boys. Each soldier strained to hear, as one young German voice sang out so clear. He's singing bloody well, you know, my partner says to me. Soon one by one each German voice joined in harmony. The cannons rested silent, the gas cloud rolled no more, as Christmas brought us respite from the war. As soon as they had finished, a reverent pause was spent. Then God rest you merry gentlemen struck up some lads from Kent. The next they sang was Stille Nacht. Says, Silent Night, says I. And in two tongues one song filled up that sky. There's someone coming towards us here, the frontline sentry cried. Our sights were fixed on one lone figure coming from their side. His truce flag like a Christmas star shone on their plain so bright, as he bravely strode unarmed into the night. Soon one by one on either side strode into no man's land, with neither gun nor bayonet. We met there hand to hand. We shared some secret brandy, and we wished each other well. And in a flareless soccer game, we gave them hell. We traded chocolates and cigarettes, showed photographs from home. These sons and fathers far away from families of their own. Young Sanders played his squeeze box, and they had a violin. This curious and unlikely band of men. Soon daylight stole upon us, and France was France once more. With sad farewells we each began to settle back to war. But the question haunted every heart that lived that wondrous night: whose family have I fixed within my sight? 'Twas Christmas in the trenches, where the frost so bitter hung. The frozen fields of France were warmed when songs of peace were sung, and the walls they built between us to exact the work of war had crumbled and were gone forevermore. My name is Francis Tolliver. In Liverpool I dwell. Each Christmas come since World War I, I've learned its lesson well, that the ones who call the shots are never there among the dead and lame. And on each end of the rifle, we're the same.
You're tuned in to 91.3 KXCI. Tonight is the Sonic Solstice 2017 edition. That was Eberlein playing
Christmas in the Trenches.
A beautiful song. I'm really glad that Francis survived. It sounds like he did. But
oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he's telling it in retrospect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So why that song?
Why that song? How many people serving in the military will not be home for Christmas this year and every year? Mm-hmm. And until we all sit down and sing songs of peace together. You know? So I'm on a binge with an author right now, Sherman Alexie, Native American author. He's a Spokane Indian from near the Seattle area, and he has a quote in one of his novels. Chess is talking to the main character, and he asks, why are we here anyway? And she says, oh, to tell our stories and sing our songs. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, I've sort of internalized that at this point. I mean, what else do we have of value?
Yeah. Yeah, and what better way to connect to one another
exactly
than by song and story?
Exactly.
Yeah. Why is that song? I'm hesitant to categorize it, but is it a protest song? Is it a ballad? Is it
It's a ballad. I would call it a ballad. Yeah.
Yeah. It has a certain epic quality. Highly romantic.
When John introduces it, sometimes he will say that it's the song that changed his life. Mm-hmm. He was. I'll try to make this kind of brief. I'm in the Arlo Guthrie School of Song Introduction, where the introduction should be at least 2/3 longer than the song itself. John says what happened is he was doing a show. I think it was down in Alabama, mm-hmm. and he was getting ready. He was in the green room, and the custodian came in, and she said, "Excuse me," and sorry, I didn't mean to come in on you. He says, "That's all right." She says, "Well, what are you doing tonight?" He says, "Oh, I'm telling some stories and singing some songs." He says, "Are they true stories?" She asked him. And they proceeded to talk, and she told him the story of her husband. And that's where the song comes from. It's the story of this woman's husband. So
up until that point, had he been writing true stories?
Oh, John, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. John's got a catalog of over 30 releases. He's an Appalachian master at this point. So.
Yeah.
In fact, I was really happy we got him here for a folk festival headliner, 2-3 years ago. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
And what about you? What are you writing these days?
What about me? Oh, I've got a CD release, hopefully end of January, February, mm-hmm. beginning of February.
Did you record those on your own, or did you do it in a recording studio?
In the studio with Duncan Stitt. Yes, Duncan Stitt. Everybody around town knows him. He's just fabulous. And it's a 2 CD. It's got a theme to it. I'm jokingly calling it my Moody Blues CD because one disc is entitled Community. Here I am with my community tonight. Mm-hmm. The other disc is entitled Solitude. I spend a lot of time out in the wild by myself.
In your cabin?
Well, with my dog. So.
Good. But, that's unsafe.
And so each disc, the tracks are appropriate to that theme. Mm-hmm. And then the other side of the community is for 8 years, I hosted the local show before it was called Locals Only, a long time ago, back in the 90s. And so I'm blessed with so many friends that play great music. And so I'm going to leave people off here, but Don Armstrong did a song with me. The late Stephen George did a song with me on this album. Amo Chip did a couple songs with me. Jim and Shanti from the Waybacks. Mark Haldaway, the kalimba master here in town. Mitzi Cowell. In fact, they are together on a track, and they had never been in the studio together before. What a huge thrill that was.
Wow.
It's just the list of people who've come in to help me out with this.
Yeah.
It's just, it blows me away that I have so many cool
You've got the Tucson
friends.
Pantheon. It's
so many
great.
cool friends.
Is there a songwriting through line to this besides the themes? Like, did you attempt to do something that you'd never done before, or as far as putting the songs together goes?
Well, it is totally different. My first release was pretty much me solo. I wanted something that when I auditioned, I used it as an audition for gigs as a solo. They said, this is what I am. And there were maybe 3 tracks that I had a couple people in on. My second release, which has that song on it, by the way, Christmas in the Trenches, with Kevin Tram on the squeeze box and Tim O'Connor on the fiddle. And it's reprinted. It was out of print. It's at Cactus Mercantile and Merchant, whatever it is up there at Monterey Court. Greg and Deborah's shop there, Cactus Merch. And man, did they knocked it out in the bridge there when he says, young Sanders played his squeeze box. But that release was my Ebbs Camp Cooking Band, which was basically Tim O'Connor and Phil Anderson, the wonderful Phil Anderson on bass, and myself. We were a 3-piece most of the time. And this is totally different. I mean, there's no thread. Often you listen to a band, and it's the same line of musicians in all the songs, and so there's a thread, there's a continuity there. And that's not at all true about this release. There's something that feels kind of bluegrassy. There's something that feels like maybe Leo Cocky inspired it. There's something that... I've got a Dixieland song on it that I'm still working on, getting the right people in the studio for.
The many shades of Eberlein.
Yeah, well, and the many shades of community here in Tucson. I mean, it's just fabulous.
What a great idea. Yeah, I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, I'm so psyched.
What's next, Eb?
What's next? Well, this song is a winter song. It's not specific for Christmas or New Year's necessarily, but this is a rough time of year for some people. People who've had losses this time of year. People who've had folks move out of their lives for whatever reason, whether they passed away or relationships ended and moved on. And so this is a song for that. It's a Sandy Denny song. It's called Who Knows Where the Time Goes. Across the morning sky, all the birds are leaving. Oh, how high they fly, how can they know it's time for them to go? But by the winter's fire, we'll still be dreaming. I do not count the time. Who knows where the time goes? Who knows where the time goes? Sad, deserted shore, all your friends are leaving. Oh, how far they go, how can they know it's time for them to go? thought of leaving you. I do not count the time. Who knows where the time goes? Who knows where the time goes? Not alone when my love is near to me, and it will be so till it's time for her to go. Come the storms of winter, and then the birds in the spring again. Do not count my love. Who knows how my love grows? Who knows how my love grows?
91.3 KXCI live in Studio 2A with the 2017 Sonic Solstice. You just heard Eberlein. You can also hear him on KXCI hosting Arizona Trails. Have any last things to impart to the city of Tucson and beyond?
If you're interested, find me on Reverb Nation or Facebook. I have a series at Monterey Court I call the Spontaneous Sessions. Next one is Wednesday the 27th, right after Christmas. And my buddy Mikey Wozniak's coming in. And what we do is I bring in another songwriter artist each month. We each do a set, and then we throw songs at each other. We just sit there, and I let the audience know. We don't rehearse it. We just throw songs at each other, and that song reminds me of this song, and this song reminds you of that song, and we back each other up, and we just have a marvelous fun time. So that's the 27th. In January, it'll be Kathleen Williamson will be back with me, my good buddy, and I think I'm at Johnny Gibson's downtown, second Friday in January. I can't keep track. I'm really blessed. I'm playing a lot of music these days and having a good time doing it. And so glad that KXCI is here for all the local artists that come in and it's just huge. Yeah. It's just huge. All the things that KXCI does. It's an entire community in one radio station. We're a library. We're a fitness center. Try these steps out sometime. Yeah, go all the way up to the third floor. We're a news organization. You name it. I mean, this is an entire community in one little building. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so thank you, Sophie, for having me. It's so good to have you. And everyone who's attached to it feels really good for being attached to this specific community, I think. It's the happiest place on earth. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Enjoy the cookies downstairs. Audio Jungle.